Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Firefighters Podcast, where we seek to develop, inspire, and motivate the world of the emergency services operator through a series of wide-ranging conversations. Now, before we go any further, just hit that rate, follow, or subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to. It's a key performance indicator for us and helps us reach even more people. Now, here's what we've got for you today. This is a bit of a roundup episode from our trip to the Emergency Services Show on the 17th and 18th of September 2025, held in NEC Birmingham. And I'll see you on the other side. Next up, Carl got an opportunity to catch up with Chris Colgan. Chris has actually been on the podcast before, and he's from Hunter Apparel. Hunter are doing some really interesting stuff in the sector, so I hope you're going to enjoy this one. Let's get in there with Carl and Chris.
Chris Colgan, independent consultant working with Hunter Apparel. So we're here, it's buzzing, you've got loads of new products. Tell us what's new and exciting in the world of Hunter Apparel.
Hi, it's good to speak to you, Carl. Lots of exciting things going on. Obviously, as you can tell, there's a bit of a vibe around the place at the moment, a bit of a buzz. Haven't had a chance to spend too much time on the stand, but there's some fantastic resources here, in terms of the seminars that the NFCC are putting on in terms of PPE. So obviously an opportunity not only to impart knowledge, but also to find out what's going on for the NFCC, who are ultimately our customers, so that we can supply the best products for them. But so all the latest PPE garments here. We're specifically focusing on the care and maintenance now as well. Obviously, there's a lot of press out there about the contaminants issue. I know there's lots of firefighters that have real concerns about that. Fire services are obviously doing their bit to reduce their firefighters' exposure to contaminants. But the FBU obviously are very keen on seeing improvements in that area too. So obviously need to respond to those pressures, and I think Hunter Apparel are probably leading the pack in terms of the decontamination of our fire kit.
So there are standards out there for decontamination. Somebody's just getting beaten up next to us, if you can hear that. In a good way, they've got body armour on, so they're absolutely fine.
Yeah.
There's standards there, and I believe, part of what you offer as a company is kind of groundbreaking decontamination for fire kit, isn't it?
We do, yeah. So we're introducing liquid carbon dioxide decontamination as a service, and trying to explain to fire and rescue services that visit us on the stand how that's better, got greater efficacy than the water-based cleaning solutions. Obviously, the garments that we wear nowadays are highly complex garments. They've got 3 layers, membranes, and so whilst they're the very best at protecting in extreme environments, they also trap the contaminants. So a water-based laundry system is not as efficient at removing those contaminants. There are other issues around water-based cleaning as well, in terms of the time it takes to dry the kit, the shrinkage you get with that, and so ultimately your kit gets turned around in a lot slower pace. And actually, you wouldn't believe this, but the garments, some of the harshest environments the kit experiences is in the washing machine, whereas LCO2 is the better version of that in terms of it doesn't have the same harmful impacts on the kit. There's no water involved, so there's no long drying times, no shrinkage times, but most importantly, it will reduce or remove up to 99% of the contaminants.
And I think that's the important bit, isn't it? We've all, you've an operational background, so have I. I'm sure we can think back to years gone by when, fire kit decontamination was not front and centre of our minds, but it is now, and we know better.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's a big issue for the fire and rescue service, I believe, and it's a difficult one because it's not just about better decontamination of kit, which we would stress is vitally important, but obviously fire and rescue services are looking at their behavioural change techniques, how they change their firefighters' ways, their policies, their procedures, their equipment, even right down to how we fight fires. We all know traditional way of fighting fires is 2BA, hose reel, in you go, compartment fire, get punished. So I think there needs to be a sea change in how we fight fires, our policies, our procedures, our logistics, and our care and maintenance of PPE.
Yeah, and it's great to see this product developing, and I guess if anybody wants any more information, they can find it on the website.
Yeah, if they go into the Hunter Apparel website, type in LCO2 liquid carbon dioxide or hashtag deconology. That will point them in the right direction to get all of the benefits, all the information around liquid carbon dioxide decontamination for your kit.
Chris, great to speak to you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Carl. Good
Cheers.
to speak to you. Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Gore-Tex Professional Fabrics. Now, we all know the working environment of a firefighter is filled with challenges. We face serious risks on the job, such as heat exhaustion, burns, physical and mental stress, and we frequently come into contact with high levels of toxic chemicals. Now, I have been wearing Gore-Tex for nearly 2 decades on the front line, working in hostile environments, tackling challenging incidents from firefighting to water incidents and in urban search and rescue environments. Gore-Tex have a well-earned reputation for protecting professionals in the fire and emergency services through their family of highly innovative, waterproof, breathable moisture barriers that exceeds global performance standards and are trusted worldwide. Gore-Tex, going further together. Next up, Carl takes over the mic and he's catching up with Sarah Dennison, who is the National Search and Rescue Dogs Association, as a member of their Suffolk branch. Let's have a listen.
So, Sarah, here we are from the National Search and Rescue Dogs Association.
Yes, I'm from the Suffolk branch.
Lovely to meet you. And we're here with 2 of our friends today who are furry friends, that is.
Idris and Hewell.
Lovely. So, first things first, please tell us all about what you do, the organisation, and how you came to be involved in it first, please.
Well, I'm part of 2 organisations. I'm part of National Search and Rescue Dog Association, but I'm also part of Suffolk Lowland Search and Rescue Dog. Suffolk Lowland Search and Rescue.
Do you want to start again? Should we start
Yes,
again? That's
sorry.
right, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I do this.
No,
I've lost count the amount of times I've done it.
I said I wasn't very good at this.
Hey, trust me, I'm not going to. Trust me, you're in good company. So, I'll start again. National Search and Rescue Dogs Association.
Yes. All right, I'll try not to make it too convoluted because it is a bit complicated.
I'm making sure I get it right, that's all. Yeah.
Okay.
So across the emergency services, volunteers play a huge part in the emergency response. And I'm here today with Sarah from the National Search and Rescue Dogs Association. Sarah, lovely to meet you, and we're here with 2 furry friends as well. Please introduce us.
Yes, we have Idris here, who's a trainee, and Hewell, who's a qualified search and rescue dog.
Fantastic. So Cocker Spaniel and Black Lab.
Yes, that's right.
2 beautiful looking dogs. So tell us, please, all about just the organisation, what you do, and I'm interested in how did you become to be part of it?
Well, I'm actually also part of SALSA, which is Suffolk Lowland Search and Rescue. They have a associated dog team, which is SARDA Suffolk. I got interested in working with the dogs. I started off bodying for them, which basically means I go and hide in a ditch or a bush for them. Moved on to being support, so I help the handlers when they're out actually operational. I do all the comms, the navigation, the first aid and stuff like that. And then 3.5 years ago, I got Idris and started training him as a search and rescue dog.
So what's the training like then? How do you train to be a dog? How long does it take for your dog to become graded?
It takes 3 to 4 years. We train every 2 weeks. We also, you never stop training. Every time you take the dog for a walk, you're working on obedience, stopping them going after game birds, stock, that sort of thing. But twice a month, we will go out and there'll be a number of bodies hidden in a similar environment to the kind of environment that we're searching. So for us in Suffolk, you're going to be looking at farmland, forest land, some of the beaches we do. We also do some urban searches, and last weekend we were actually doing a building search. We were inside a school.
Wow.
And that's basically
Great.
what we
And
do.
you're called out by the police on request of the police?
Yes, if somebody's reported missing to the police and they're classed as being high risk or vulnerable, the police will then activate a call out to SALSA, and then we will get called and deployed depending on what the area is, what the situation is. Usually we are looking for people who've got dementia, they are suicidal, depressed, a lot of neurodivergent, particularly children we go looking for, and really anybody who is classed as being vulnerable.
Yeah, well done. And I understand you had some recent successes.
Yes, Hewell actually, he's been qualified about 1.5 years. He's actually found 2 missing people, high-risk missing people that had been missing for over 12 hours, both of them with dementia. So that was a really good find for him.
Fantastic. And as we're speaking now, I can see that Idris is looking intently at the microphone, which he thinks is a ball.
He does, yes.
Very ball-orientated then, is he?
Very ball-orientated.
Fantastic.
And that's mainly how we train them. They are trained either with a toy or with food. It's all done on a reward basis. Essentially, these dogs won't work if they don't want to do it.
No.
So, we work very hard.
I have two teenage sons like that.
Okay.
Fantastic. Well, lovely to meet you, and lovely to meet Idris and Hugh as well. Fantastic work that you do. So keep up the good work, and thanks from us all. Cheers.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
This episode is brought to you in partnership with MSA Safety. Today we have them to thank for the improved firefighter safety through connectivity in their brand new connected firefighter system. At the centre of the connected firefighter platform is the MSA M1 SCBA with telemetry. That integrates straight in with the Luna system, which is a wireless all-in-one device creating an independent search and rescue network, providing edge detection, enhanced personal thermal imaging, while simplifying post-scene reporting and data retention. All of this then plugs into the FireGrid system for cloud-based connectivity, real-time information, and data-driven decisions for the incident commander. MSA are truly taking massive strides in the future of improved firefighter safety through connectivity in the brand new MSA Connected Firefighter platform. Now back to the show. This conversation was between Carl and Ellie Mason. Ellie is a marketing and communications officer for women in the fire service. We always love supporting all our members in WFS, and you won't have to look too far back to find some incredible women from the sector on the podcast. And once again, we also caught up with Bex and Georgie from the Antarctic Fire Angels. They were getting their kit issued from MSA, which is super exciting. So glad to be able to connect the dots on that one as well. So without further ado, let's get in there with Ellie, Mason and Carl.
So, Ellie, good afternoon. Here we are. So, Women in the Fire Service. So, tell us all about what you're doing here and what do we need to know?
So, I am obviously part of Women in the Fire Service UK. Today, we are here to spread awareness about our organisation, as unfortunately, not every service knows about Women in Fire Service. We're a not-for-profit organisation, so all the money that comes into the organisation does go back out to help retain, progress and recruit women into fire service roles. So that includes operational and non-operational roles. So we're just trying to spread the word as much as possible, try and speaking to other companies that work in the fire sector, speak to aspiring, current, former firefighters and non-operational staff too.
Absolutely. So WFS open to all women in the fire service, from support roles through to operational roles?
Absolutely. So all women in the fire service, all women, whether you do a support role or you are operational, on call. We're also open to those that are aspiring people going into fire service roles. And we do also work with other companies as well. So I know that we do a lot to do with the Chiefs Council to help work on things like PPE, make sure that that's all fit for purpose for women, because that's a bit of an issue in fire services across the UK as well.
Yeah, good stuff. And I suppose that role modelling as well around people that aspire to be firefighters.
Yes.
I've spoken to a few young ladies here today, and they are here because they want to be firefighters.
Yes.
It's great to see. And of course, WFS, you have an annual event as well every year, which again is always well attended.
Yes, so we've got two major events in the year. So the first is our training and development event, which is run annually, and we host that at the Fire Service College. So that, again, is open to all women in the fire service and other people too. So anyone can come along to these events. And whether you are operational, we host workshops that are incident-based for operational staff. We also have workshops that are about being a firefighter. So for those people that sometimes we have sponsors from other companies and maybe some of their staff want to have a go at doing firefighter roles, so we have workshops to do with that. And it's just a really fun weekend full of lots of conversations, really meaningful talks. We have a big meeting as a big group of us just to talk about lots of different areas within the fire service, as well as our workshops. And then our second big event of the year is our awards, which is open for anyone to nominate any of their colleagues within fire service roles. And we look at lots of different areas like our Inspiring Stars and Digital Trailblazer. We also have Best Team, things like this, lots of different categories.
I think it's been fairly recent as well, hasn't it? You've run one recently at the awards?
Yes, yeah. So
brilliant.
Our training and development event and our awards actually run around the same time. So we hosted them in June this year. And so next year, we've just started planning everything again. So this Emergency Services Show is also a great opportunity to go and speak to other companies, see if we can get them on board and helping sponsor us, as we need as many people involved as possible so we can help to put these together for.
Great. And on that, I suppose, how would somebody get involved in WFS?
So we have memberships, so you can be a member, which is a yearly payment of just £15 to become a member. So that helps us obviously put on the events, run everything, be able to come to shows like the Emergency Services Show. And we also have corporate members. And I can say that now every fire service in the UK currently is a corporate member, which is the first time that's ever happened, which is absolutely incredible. And having your service as a corporate member means that they can have delegates come to our events. There's lots of other ways that people can get involved as well, supporting us on social media. We have a private Facebook group as well, which is a great community for support for women in fire service roles too. We also run a women's development program, which is a fantastic 6-hour course run across 3 different days, across 3 consecutive months, where we actually work with women in helping build their confidence and hopefully get them either to a point where they can apply for a fire service role, maybe progress within their roles, move different departments, just give them the confidence that they need to kind of make their voice heard.
Brilliant. And great work as well. You've got a great team here today as well. And your team is taken from, I know you've got an operational background, and also, have you got a good mixture of people on the team?
Yes. So there's 3 employed members of staff, myself included, and our committee of directors are all women in fire service roles. They're all volunteers. So apart from the 3 employed members of staff, everyone that helps to run Women in Fire Service is a volunteer, which is fantastic as well. So a lot of the women here today are all volunteers, which just shows how much time and effort people put into this organisation to give back to other people.
Great to see, and fantastic work as ever. So lovely to speak to you, Ellie. Thanks for your time, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The team here at the podcast are extremely excited to announce our brand new partnership with Patrol Store UK. Patrol Store have been serving the UK's police, fire and emergency communities and first responder sector since 2008, providing leading brands such as Hikes, Magnum, 511, Nebo, Op Zulu, Highlander, AKU and many, many more of our favourites. They are now also supplying bespoke uniform, PPE and station workwear to fire services around the UK. So for all our listeners that are part of your USAR, your HEART team, your ISAR team, your armed response teams, your fire investigation, your NALO, your hazmat and all of the training departments that have got your own budgets, be sure to get the absolute best for your team at a realistic price by contacting Aaron and the team at Patrol Store and referencing the Firefighters podcast. Patrol Store will also be taking part in our listener competition giveaways, as well as providing unique discounts to podcast listeners. So for people that are always asking about Hikes boots as an example, that is one unique discount code that is coming to you very soon through Patrol Store. We've also got some incredible bags. I mean, the Op Zulu bags are a game changer. So the really Gucci and expensive tactical black bags that everyone's using in CrossFit workouts and taking to the gym and taking to stations? Well, they've basically got that, but it's made better and costs less, because they're not slapping some Gucci expensive brand name on it and it's giving you what you want on a first responder salary. Be sure to keep your eyes in the notes of the episodes for links to unique offers and discount codes. And if you're looking to buy well and buy once, be sure to get in the notes and head over to Patrol Store UK. Now back to the show. A final one from Carl today is speaking with Graham Cole. Graham is the president of PTSD 999, and this is a really nice one for Carl because kind of surreal. Graham Cole was also known as PC Tony Stamp, and he was on the bill for many, many years. So really lovely catch up this one is. I know you're going to enjoy it. I know Carl was a little bit starstruck on this one. So again, just one of those lovely serendipitous meetings. So let's get in there with Graham and Carl, and I'll see you on the other side.
So, Graham Cole, and I'm here with you, and podcast listeners will probably remember you, and many of the podcast listeners will remember you as PC Tony stamping the bill.
Oh, yeah.
How many years did you do that, Graham, please?
25.
25
Started
years.
in 1984 and walked out of the gates in the latter part of 2009.
Wow, that's
Beautiful. Over 1,400 episodes.
That's a good shift.
It was glorious. I mean, tell you, man, you don't expect to be on a job that long.
No.
It was fantastic. And enjoy it as much as I did.
Absolutely.
It was a fantastic show.
And how do you think it would fare today if they tried to do the same thing? Would it stand the test of time?
That's a difficult one to answer, because one of the problems is, the bill reflected what it was like to be a copper on the streets. Now, how do you do that? You've all got body cams. Technically, the body cams and then the actual cameras that you were recorded on are so different. To be able to make them work is quite difficult. But also, when the guys and girls arrive, and I'm here with Post-Traumatic Stress 999, when the guys arrive on the streets, and everyone's got their mobile phone out.
Yeah.
And it's
a different world.
Different kind of pressure.
Of course it is.
And you've got those wonderful things like, the Interceptors, and I know quite a lot of those guys. And you've got those kind of shows. And so I think the bill, bless you, Carl, for saying, I think the bill was of its time. It was of policing of its time. There was still community cops out there, very, very different. And in many ways, the political structure has changed completely. And so you don't want to talk about woke, but we're
going to talk about woke.
You'll be up against it. I know when the script writers will be up. Because that's what it's about, as an actor. It's about the words.
Yeah.
If it's beautifully written, you can deliver it in a beautiful way.
As you did. So you're here today, PTSD 999, please.
Yep.
So your role as president?
I am indeed, bless you, thank you. Yeah, Gary Hayes is here, our CEO and founder. Gary's out of the Royal Green Jackets, but he was also a BTP and spent 12 days in the tunnels of the underground after the 7/7 bombings.
Yeah.
And as you well know, you talk to police officers, those guys, that's just like part of the job. But it isn't.
No.
And one of the things we try and say is to the general public, just think about it when you get your mobile phone out. There's someone's dad, someone's mum, someone's brother, they're no different to you and I. They've just decided to put that uniform on. And 9 out of 10 cases want to make a difference. Absolutely. And that hasn't changed from when I used to research for Tony Stamp.
And of course, raising awareness of mental health, PTSD within the emergency services, armed forces. Sure. The more we talk about it, the more it becomes acceptable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you've got a friend or a family member that's got post-traumatic stress or any kind of mental health, I've been with Childline supporter for 40 years. Anyone with that, the thing the family's got to remember, it'd be the same thing that they want to talk about over and over. Just be aware that is the big thing in their mind. And we know with post-traumatic stress, it's a chemical reaction in the brain. What we try and do in the simplest term is sort of think about alcoholism. You're never going to stop being an alcoholic, but you learn how to control that. And what we can teach you is like the triggers. You feel it coming up behind you. I mean, you yourself, fire service, 30 years, you've got I'm sure, some horrible, horrible things that will come into your mind. And what we'll teach you is just remember why you joined, why you did it, and also that I would never be a firefighter. There's not a hope. I mean, that is some other job. It's just amazing. When I used to research for the police, you used to think, like the child protection teams and stuff like that. Wow, how do they do that? Yeah, fire service? No. Yeah. Most of us will run in the other direction to where you guys are going.
Yeah, of course. And I think, so the work that you do and the services that you offer, could you just talk us through how people would access that?
Yeah, it took us a long time. We just got charity status this year. So it's going to change it a little bit for us, because that now means we can talk to the corporate boys and maybe get a bit more money in the kitty, because obviously we can handle many. Sometimes like Childline, sometimes someone just wants to know that someone cares. It can be as simple as that. Someone understands. Yeah. And then if it's more clinically based, what we want to, and we have had, when we've had the money in there, clinical psychologists that we can get in and bring them up. And the presentations that Gary does, and we go all over the country with it, is just stunning, because he really shows you what it was for him, what the job meant to him, and the fact that and today, as you know, here from 9 o'clock this morning, Gary's been to the toilet once, I've been to, other than that, we're just talking to blue light responders. And it's a mighty privilege to be there for them. But so very often, it's something that happened to them in childhood. and we forget about that, and then something will trigger that.
Yeah.
And always think, okay, you can handle it, but we can teach you. First of all, don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Just love yourself. And that is one of the biggest things. Love yourself because you put yourself in harm's way.
Yeah.
And that's massive. Most of us in the general public don't do that. We run the other direction. Politicians remember that. You aren't the guys that are running in that direction.
Yeah.
And I think, bless them, as hard as they try. We got that terrible drumming. I have tinnitus, and then these drumming gigs comes out behind.
There's a lot going on behind
you
us.
You can
edit
edit that, can't you?
Yeah. We'll try. We'll try.
Put in some nice mood music behind us.
I think we will.
But again, the politicians have got to remember that the guys and girls that are out there, just under those mobile phones are out. So, we were talking to two guys, I think they were Warwickshire. We're just saying they went to a stabbing, which is all too frequent for them now. And the kid was on the floor and bleeding and stuff. And there was like 4 or 5 people around them, not even facing him. Their cameras were out, filming them coming in. What they're going to do?
Very different.
Hoping they're going to do something. What's happened to us?
Yeah. It's a very different society now, and I think that just adds another layer for the responder on top of the stress of dealing with the incident.
Absolutely.
Because, we're all judged by social media, the public, and what can be a 5-second clip on social media.
Sure.
You won't see the 5 minutes leading up to that either.
Absolutely right. Totally.
And of course, that's a real stress for responders, isn't it?
Yeah, and they want headlines, don't they? And it's very, very difficult. And I mean, they're leaving in droves, and we know there's something like 140,000 cops off with stress, and you're trying to say if you can address that, then you could probably halve those that are staying at home. Not easily, but we know how to manage that, and that's massive.
Yeah.
And the management need to be aware of that.
Yeah.
And just because it didn't happen to you,
doesn't
mean it doesn't exist.
Or it might not.
Perhaps you're one of the lucky ones.
Or it might do in the future.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things, because I sort of go ahead of Gary and the boys that do it for real, and I thought, what kind of stress do you have? You're an actor. That is all my job is stress. I learn the lines that I didn't write. I hit marks that I don't know. I'm with you now with a microphone, all that stuff. And it is all stress. And the bottom line is, Cole, it's not even real.
No.
And the thing like we were saying, you look at TV and you believe actors through their eyes. And if you're going to believe us, then we've got to put ourselves exactly into that place.
Yeah.
On our website, if you go on there, Post-Traumatic Stress 999, there's a little short film I made about an ex-cop with post-traumatic stress. Honestly, humbly, it was the toughest 4 days I've ever spent in front of a camera. Because working with Gary and the boys, I really wanted to get it right.
And that's called Broken Glass, is it?
Broken Glass,
yeah.
Bless your
great.
heart.
So, have a look at that. Yeah.
Thank you. And it's having an impact. Bless those that watch it. I still find it quite hard to watch, purely because you look at it and go, I should have done, or could I have done it, or should I have, which is the actor's job. We've never got 100%, have we?
Absolutely.
But I have to say that going out and doing the presentations, it's a beautiful thing. And you've seen today, if I'm not talking to you, I'm doing selfies. And that's a beautiful thing.
It's great. And raising the profile of, PTSD, mental health.
Hopefully.
It's a very worthwhile thing, Graham.
Yeah, bless you.
So thank you so much for your time. Lovely to speak to you.
Bless you. Thanks, everybody.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you for your support out there. It's very, very special.
Good
Thanks,
on you.
Carl.
All the best.
God bless you. Thanks, mate.
Well, there we have it, folks. That is our final roundup from the Emergency Services Show 2024. Hope it was a nice little mishmash for you. Hope we didn't lose you anywhere in the middle. And I always kind of like episodes like that, Something new, something interesting, lots of different stuff, lots of different people. And that was, really just an infinitesimal dot of the number of incredible people, past and present guests we were able to speak with as well. And I guess if you want more of that, you know the place to be. We're back with our regular programming every single week. Final request from us, if you enjoyed today, if you enjoyed the podcast, please be sure to like, rate, follow. If you're listening on Spotify, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, wherever you are, give us that little bit of love. It really helps us out, make me very happy. And if you want to go one further and you want to access all the library, all the publications, all the documents, you can check the notes in this episode and you will see a link to our Patreon account. This is the cost of a coffee. It's £3 a month and it helps us keep doing more of this. Helps the podcast be sustainable, helps it be more long term, helps secure the future of what we're doing so we can bring more great people to your listening ears. Hopefully for many, many years to come. So if that tickles your pickle, jump into the notes. If not, keep on listening. Stay safe out there, folks. We'll see you soon. The Firefighters Podcast was created to recognize, acknowledge, inspire, and hopefully even motivate these incredible individuals who have chosen to be part of the first responder community. Our driving purpose is to create a legacy resource for the current and future generations of firefighters and first responders. We get some incredible feedback from listeners and guests, and as the podcast grows, our desire to create longevity and sustainability means that we are asking for the support of our listeners. If you want to support the podcast, if you want to get discounts to our merchandise, hoodies, clothing, coins, patches, tallies, and also access to all of the incredible documents get shared with us from our podcast guests and sector leaders, then please head over to our Patreon page, and for just £3 a month, you can support the future of the podcast. Please finally hit that follow, subscribe, or rate button on the platform you're listening, and wherever you're in the world, please support your emergency services responders, and thank you for listening.